So today we're joined by Shaun Cole, who's gone from being a BMX superstar to the CEO and founder of a very successful creative agency.
Thank you. And hello, and good to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you again, my man.
Yeah, good.
So how have you been?
I've been pretty well. I've been pretty good. We are busy as always. Yeah, it's a little bit slower than normal, but that's January, February. And then, of course, March kicks in, and then the everything piles in. So I'm quite busy at the moment, writing proposal documents and estimating jobs or projects.
So just for the uninitiated,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about what Born Agency does. Born Creative.
It's Born Creative Agency Limited,
Cracking
if you
name.
want the full official. Born Agency it started life as just myself and Ben Trafford, my business partner. We worked together in a bigger agency. When that decided to end, we decided to go for it. Both self-funded. You know, you go to banks, they're not interested. So we both self-funded. We're very lucky gentlemen. I'm married to a high-level accountant. He's married to a high-level lawyer. So the lady set the business up and then told us we could get a bit of pocket money and we weren't going to get paid for for 12 months. And away we went. And it was just me and Ben start and working out a spare room in his house. Went very well for the first 12 months. Immediately winning clients, working with people we knew, long-term existing relationships. And yeah, it's just gone from strength to strength. We're now in our 7th year. And don't regret a word of it. Don't regret a minute of it.
So you incorporated 2 years later.
Yeah, we started
It was
as
your fifth birthday.
5th birthday. We started as an LLP.
Happy birthday.
And then went limited after a couple of years with advice from accountants, etc. And yeah, just going really grow each year, but in control. That's the secret. Don't peak and trough. Just grow gradually each year. Keep doing really good jobs at a fair price, ethically, and delivering on your promises, and just build relationships. That's what it's all about. Building relationships, not chasing projects, is our mantra.
So what is the mainstay of what Born Agency does?
We started life as a graphic design agency. That's what we started as, branding, design for print. Pre-COVID, print was huge. And then as it's developed, we've always been known for doing things slightly different and looking at things in a different way, because we try our utmost to do return on investment for client. That's what it's all about. So we kind of started doing larger and larger projects for some quite big companies, and then that developed into doing full campaigns. And now I suppose that's what we're known for, a campaign agency, where product, service, brand awareness, product launch, even product naming, we will take the brief or sit with the client and write a brief, know who the target audience is, find their trigger points, and then basically apply the strategy, then do the creative. You can't do the creative unless you've got your strategy and everything else in place. And then those graphical elements, whether it be, print, screen, trade show, whatever it might be, point them in a direction so you can track it. So it might be pushing to a web page or Salesforce backup or whatever it might be. And then getting that continuous message across of the campaign. We always create sort of a headline message. And yeah, we've seen some amazing results for some pretty big clients, actually. And you win their trust, and then they just give you another campaign and another campaign, and that's where you build a strong agency, because you've got ongoing client base who trust you, and then everybody's happy.
Run a mini campaign for my law firm right now.
Right, live. Oh,
Right now,
excellent.
live. Yeah.
So, I mean, I know you, but if I didn't know you, I would ask you why you started your law firm. What's the reasoning? I want to know your thought processes. I want to know your ethics, because that will reflect on what we push out as a message. who you want to talk to. Is it a particular sector? Is it a particular type of law? Because, you know, public law, as you know, let's call it, somebody's been a bit naughty and you need to help them out, is completely different to corporate law or acquisition or whatever it might be. So once I know that for you, and I know you, so once I know the target audience and I know you, I can then create a message that it matches you. You know.
So you know me.
I
right?
do know
and
you.
I work in corporate law. Let's say exclusively I work with businesses.
Yes.
No particular sector.
Yeah.
Across the board. I just like good humans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I would.
You're watching magic.
You're a very relaxed person. You're extremely honourable. You're incredibly reliable, but you're quite a smooth character. So that's sort of, you know, that's conjuring up sort of nice, sort of mid-range colours. It's not bright. It's not, let's call it what I call national trust colours. You are that sort of royal blues, nice greys, sort of forest greens type. On top of that, you know, because of you're that high level, maybe if there was a bit of print involved, you might have a bit of foil on it or a bit of spot varnish to show that extra bit of detail, to show that you take a bit of care and you think it through to the nth degree. And then for commercial, so if you're on LinkedIn, you know I'm a big LinkedIn user, you know, we would do you some very slick, nice graphics with messages in. Don't ask me to start brainstorming messages now because I need my team around me.
What a tagline.
I need my team around me.
Tagline.
Yeah, I need Ben and Carly and everybody with me. But yeah, we would create everything on the correct level, the quality level, the tone level, the correct message, words you would use. You'd never want to say something in a marketing message and the people go, he or she would never say that. You know, we have a born tone of voice. Excuse me. We have a born tone of voice that actually Carly's developing really well with Ben. I've had some input, but actually, you know me, I'm dyslexic. So I'm not a copywriter by any shadow of means. But they understand me. They know what I would say. So they would never include words that wouldn't come out of my mouth. So it can be a bit cheeky, can be a bit fun, a bit edgy. But yeah, I would create things for you on the correct level, tone and colours, etc., to represent you.
So you're on the graphic side of things.
My background is a pro photographer. So that's my background, and 16, 17, 18 years in international exhibition. So if it was basically if it's in an airport duty-free shop, that was my client list. So drinks, cosmetics, perfumery, fashion, that kind of thing. So that's what I did for 17, 18 years abroad, creating beautiful stands for some fabulous Jack Daniels, Pernod, Johnny Walker, all those Dunhill, all those kind of people at large events to promote their brands. So that's what I did. So I'm more spatial. So if you sort of talk to me about a corporate reception or an exhibition stand, which we do a lot of design for, I know how to organise an area to get the most impact, to promote the message, but create it in such a way that it's workable for, like, the first question would be, how big is the space and how many people are you putting on it? Because you don't want to overcrowd it, because people won't walk onto a stand if they feel like they may get trapped on the stand and get sold at. They like to be able to see an entrance and an exit. So sort of try and keep that floor space fairly open. If you're going to have, I would never recommend putting tables and chairs on small exhibition stands, because what tends to happen is people get tired and they sit down. There's nothing worse than walking past an exhibition stand and seeing somebody sat down, because it just looks bad. But a stool and a high table where you're leaning on it, far more acceptable. So it's those kind of things, really.
Where do you learn this sort of stuff, or is it just innate?
It's just hands-on. It's just hands-on. I was incredibly lucky when I was 17, 18, 19. I worked for the right chap, John Watson, for a company called Viva Group. Led from the front. Never asked anybody to do anything he wasn't prepared to do himself. So I learned from the right guy. I was trained in photography, went through the photographic side of things, and ended up in the exhibition department, ended up running the exhibition department. Then went client facing. So I was out and about talking to clients, organising shows. I suppose in theory it was a little bit of sales. And then from there, went into agency life. I was asked to go into agency life by an agency owner. And yeah, that's how I ended up in agency life, and I just love it. It's great.
So you left school and went straight into work?
I did. Yeah, straight from school, straight to work.
You left school, 20-year gap, and then a first-class photography degree.
I kind of had a bit of a stopgap from leaving school, but I kind of keep that a secret, what I did.
Uh-huh.
But you're going to want to know, aren't you?
Oh, I am.
I, at the age of 16, 16, started training in the family business. My dad was a ladies' hairstylist when men weren't ladies' hairstylists. And so I trained, went to work for my father's business, salons. He sold the business, so in theory made me redundant, which I think he's still got a guilt trip about. And from there, I went to work for a neighbour who was a professional photographer working for this guy. And I just went for a summer job making coffee. And I made coffee and I swept the floor and I painted the wall white again for the 5th time because it got a mark on it. And then literally, he said, do you want to stop? Do you want to learn how to be a photographer? I was like, yeah, well, you better go to college then. And you're not doing it in my time, you'll have to do it in the evening classes. So I did all the City and Guilds, then went into work mode, and then did my master's degree slightly later in life. So I got a master's degree in graphic design communication, but specialising in a particular style of photography to communicate messages. So that's my sort of secondary education. But yeah, so ladies hairdresser, through to photography, through to exhibition, through into graphic design, branding and everything else.
Where does the BMX fit into it?
The BMX fits in. I was lucky enough, I think, to be in that era where the E.T. film came out. That was a big, big BMX film. A couple of my mates were lucky enough, one in particular was lucky enough where his dad went to America on an awful lot of business. And because he felt guilty leaving his son Lee at home an awful lot, one day rocked up with, I'll never forget it, it was a red with gold wheels Talker phenomenal BMX. You can't get them in Britain, or you couldn't then. We were all very jealous, so went down the rally route, and we bought these rally cool ultra burners, I think they were called. And because we got quite good, and we were hanging around the streets building ramps with bricks and planks, there was a scrap piece of land at the bottom of the road, and I think we found out who owned it and sort of approached the bloke and said, can we build a BMX track? And he was like, yeah, knock yourself out. So one summer, in the summer holidays, 6 weeks holidays, there was a gang of us with spades, went and dug up somebody's field, built a track, got a little bit better again, and then I think somebody just found out, and I think it might have been one of the dads, and he just formed this BMX display team, and we got booked for doing, these sort of country shows where you can show your cow and your pig off and your sheep, and then there's arena and there's a group of silly lads trying to hurt themselves on BMXs, and we were all right. We were pretty good, to be fair. Yeah, there was quite a few of us, and we were all right. And I was one of those idiots. Yeah.
So one of the questions that we actually had from the internet universe was, what was your biggest wipeout on a BMX?
Oh, I could tell you, because I can still remember it.
And what did it teach you?
I could, yeah. My biggest wipeout was in the middle of a display at one of these country shows where you're in an arena and you've got people on 4 sides, so there's nowhere to hide. And I hit the quarter pipe and I hit it completely wrong. And I knew as I was going up, this wasn't going to go well. And as I went up, as I came back down, I hooked my wheel onto the top of the ramp, which flipped me over the bars, and I hit the ground really hard. But because of sort of embarrassment, I felt the pain, but I just got back on and I carried on riding, and it really hurt. And then about a month after, it was still hurting, and my mum was going, either shut up or go to the doctors. And I went to the doctors, and he said, right, take your shirt off. I took my shirt off, and he went, when did you break your collarbone? And I said, oh, I've never broke my collarbone. He went, oh, you have, in 2 places. And I said, oh, I think I can remember doing it. And so it was this one. It was a broken collarbone in 2 places, but I carried on riding. Lesson learned.
What
Maybe
was the
don't
lesson?
maybe if it hurts that much, don't get back on the bike. Allow yourself to go, well, do you know what? That's not working for me at the moment. Let's take a breather. So if you're ever in a business situation where you're thinking, this is not working, rather than just ploughing through it, maybe just take a breather. Go and get a bit of fresh air. Make yourself a cup of tea. Think it through. And then maybe come back.
Cool. So I've there's 4 of you born owners.
Well,
What's
there is 3 in the studio.
okay?
There is a freelancer that we contract an awful lot, who used to work for us full time, because we did lose a creative last year to my heartache. We lost a long-term colleague and dear friend. He went off to do his own thing. And actually, do you know what? We tried everything to keep him. But, hey, sometimes you just have to let people go. I'm hoping he's doing okay. I think he is. And he knows he's always more than welcome back. We said to him, with no bridges burnt here, just keep in contact with us. But we are winding up for that next person. We do have both Jane and Catherine in support, where my wife's got a full-time job. She's a big corporate lady in accounts, running quite a large firm. So she doesn't have much time, but she glances over the accounts every now and again and gives us advice. Catherine's amazing, which is Ben's wife. She is fabulous in support. She does the invoicing and the administration side of things. So I'm out as much as I can. Ben's full-time creative, running the graphical side, the creative side. He always has final say on creative, which I think's sensible. He is the head creative, and extremely good at it. But yeah, we are gearing up for another body.
For another creative.
Another creative, yeah.
And you're the accounts director.
Correct.
So you deal with the relationships.
I'm the relationship guy. I'm the guy who goes out to events and shakes hands and does all that. Drinks a lot of coffee. Although Ben's very good at that. He's quite timid. I don't think he'll mind me saying that. He's quite a timid guy. But he's great in meetings. And sometimes we double act it. Depends on what it is and what the client wants. But most of the time it's me going out and about, yeah. Relationship management. I tend to know my clients really well. So I know if there's an issue or a problem before they've even said anything. And we are that kind of company that go, look, if there's a problem, talk to us. If we've not hit the mark, let us know. And I'll deal with that.
Yeah, I think you were one of the first companies after I qualified, when I was watching, how different companies operate, how different business owners operate, and you were one of the first ones that I saw in practice, like leading with the relationship. You weren't leading with the skill set. It was relationship first, and then find out what we do.
Absolutely.
And I just saw how effective that was.
Yeah.
Like even with the firm I was at.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't seen your work yet. I hadn't seen any of it, and I was like, no, that's the guy for us.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that. You know me. I think people like people. You can have the best product in the world, but if you're not warm and welcoming and particularly nice, people won't buy it. It's regardless. You've got to deal with people. So I'm a massive believer in getting to know people, understanding their problems and trying to help them solve them. That's just how I am. I think that's certainly how my dad's brought me up and my parents have brought me up. They were in business themselves. They're exactly the same. And also with the working with John again in the early days, that's how he was. He was a relationship guy. People bought into him and then his service and product after. He was the guy that they would ring and go, John, I don't know if you do this or not, but can you talk to me about this? They'd be like, it's not me, but I know someone that does and recommend. But that's how he was, and that's how I am because of. I've seen it work. So I think and Ben's the same, to be fair. We have good relationships with all our clients. Yeah, yeah.
So who would you mentioned your dad, you mentioned John.
Yeah.
Who would you say, who is like your greatest inspiration?
Oh God, I'm a huge fan, and probably because in my master's degree I did a lot of research on him. I'm a big Paul Smith fan, so the fashion designer Paul Smith. He has got quite a cool background. You know, he wanted to be a pro cyclist. He had a crash. The fashion design came out of that. He had to think of something else to do. I might get pulled up. I might have got a bit of that wrong, but that's how I understood it. And the way he runs his business, he's the front man, but he has a really good team behind him, and that's me. So I am not a graphic designer. I completely understand it, and I know good from bad, and I can recommend and make advice, but I don't sit down and do the branding design. That I leave that to Ben, and I leave that to Carly. That's what they are experts at. So, yeah, Paul Smith's a big inspiration. Richard Branson, he's a big inspiration. Perhaps on the dyslexia side, you know, I've seen what he can do with dyslexia. But again, Richard Branson is the front man. Richard, he leads from I believe in that. Lead from the front. Take the good as well as the bad. You know, take the flack as well as the good. Don't run and hide behind somebody if it all goes wrong. Stand in front and go, yeah, put your hands up. This is not working.
Mm-hmm.
Let's deal with it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you there. Like, put together a cracking team. Don't try to be a solo.
You're only as good as your team.
Yeah.
You're only as good as your last job. And, that's agency life. You are only as good as your last campaign. So
you're quite comfortable speaking about the fact that you have dyslexia.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever find that it held you back? Do you think it helped with your creativity?
I can remember the day I was told I got dyslexia. I was always the kid in the class who was a bit of a joke. I was quite funny. Teachers didn't like it. But one particular teacher, Mr. Price, English teacher, came in and I was in the 5th year. I say 5th year, now it's all different, isn't it? But my last year at school. So I'd probably be about 15. And, you know, when you read, he was an English teacher, and when you're reading, you do a paragraph and then you pass it on to the next person, they do a paragraph and it goes around the class. He said, oh, can you wait behind, Shaun? And he said, you don't read what's on the page. You read ahead. And if there's a word you don't know, you replace it with something else, but you do it so seamlessly, nobody would ever know. And he said, that's really quite clever, but you do it, because I follow it, and there is words that you've inserted in there and replaced words and I know why you've done it. So he said, I'd like you to sit a dyslexia test. So I sat in the library, and I think about a month before I was due to leave school, they went, yeah, you're dyslexic. So I'd gone through the entire education system. He picked it up. I kind of was told that's what you are. And then later in life, I found out my dad was dyslexic, my eldest son's dyslexic, and it goes down the male line. Never really, in my opinion, bothered me or affected me. Yes, okay, there might be some LinkedIn posts that go out that aren't grammatically, that's not even a word, I'm making words up, that aren't absolutely spot on with grammar. There may be typos. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. If somebody wants to dislike me because of that, that's not my problem, that's their problem. I'd like to think I make up for it in other areas. Yes, okay, I do a lot of spell checking. There is occasions where I'll write a blog and I'll give it Carly and I'll watch her chuckle in the corner and the shoulders are going and she's trying not to laugh. I know she's probably found something in it that's quite wrong, but that's fine with me. I have no issue with talking about dyslexia. I think it's a benefit, to be honest. I think it makes me think of things in a different way, and that's why maybe we come out with ideas and create ideas that are a bit different.
You think it adds to your creativity?
I think it adds to the creativity, yeah. I think you'll find there's a lot of designers. That's quite a broad brush generalisation, but I think there's quite a lot of graphic designers who have got a form of this, depending upon levels of dyslexia. And I think it helps them be creative. Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Another question that's come from the internet universe.
Okay.
How do you maintain creativity Or how do you reignite creativity when you hit that wall?
Oh, I get asked this quite a bit, and all I can do is tell you what I do and what Ben does and what Carly does. So in downtime, evenings, weekends, we actively go and find creative inspiration. So it might be, you're out and about having a coffee and you just see something in a coffee shop and you kind of go, oh, that's a cool bit of design. You might photograph it on your phone to show it show it the guys. Or you go to an art gallery and you kind of go, oh, that colour is beautiful. What is it? Or you might see something in a magazine. In the studio, we've got quite a lot of creative books, magazines. There's an actual drawer full of things that we've seen, and it's like a free leaflet or it's a cheap booklet, so we bought it and we throw it in this drawer. And if you kind of go in, oh, I want something that's a bit, just flick through a few things, and you kind of go, oh, that crease is quite nice. I've not seen that done before. So it's basically, you can get inspiration from anything. A music video, a film, just something in the street, anything. It's all creative. You look at nature, if you're ever struggling to put a colour palette together, just look at nature. It's the easiest cheat in the world, because you look at anything in nature, it works. There's your colour palette. So, it's and you can see the tonal range, autumn colours, beautiful. They all go together. They all look stunning. It's not rocket science. So you just get inspiration from anywhere, and it can be the smallest thing.
I like it.
Yay,
I like it.
yeah.
That was really nice.
Why not?
That's a real pleasure.
Nature does it quite well, so don't knock it.
Yeah, very good. I like that. That was good. Well, it must be great to work at your place.
I'd like to think so. We really hope. That's the one thing when we started Born. We had certain values we wanted. Family. Family comes first. You don't work to live. You live to work. Is that the wrong way around? You might need to cut that out. You don't live to work. You work to live. So if you come in and you're 10 minutes late, nobody's going to have a go at you. If you need to leave a little bit earlier, nobody's going to have a go at you. As long as you deliver and it's give and take, we all know in Born that we will always come up with the goods. And it's just about being honest and supporting each other and having a giggle at work. The studio banter is great. That will help. That helps in my opinion, that helps our creativity, the banter. Sometimes we have to remind Carly, filters. She is quite a comical person, to say the least. But it does make us chuckle, just because me and Ben, in theory, well, I nearly said in theory are her boss. We are. She doesn't sometimes talk to us like that, but actually it's a breath of fresh air. She's very honest, and we know she's very honest. But yeah, we just, everybody takes it in turns to make the cups of coffee and things like that. Perhaps not Ben as much. Perhaps ought to remind him of that. He knows that, and he'll smile if he hears this. But no, it's all about working. It's like a group of friends working together, doing really cool work, and because we do it well, we get paid. So never chase the money. Just do what you do really well, and the benefits will follow.
So you've just moved from
Ollerton.
Your offices
we moved
to Worksop.
Yeah.
You've got lovely new offices.
We have.
In that period in between, and also I guess during COVID, you did this. How did you find working from home?
I struggled, not going to lie. I'm a people person. I like to say hello, shake hands, look at whites of people's eyes, buy them a coffee and have a chat. That's me. Mm-hmm. I really struggled in lockdown. I didn't like Zoom meetings, team meetings. It was a necessary rather than a pleasure. Mm-hmm. I did. I did struggle a little bit. I think most people did if they're honest. But the moment I could get back out, I got back out. I couldn't wait to go to events. I couldn't wait to go and have a face-to-face. Even if people were like, no, it's all right, we'll have a Zoom. No, I'm more than happy to come. Please let me. So that's just me. I'm more relaxed around people. I don't perhaps like my own company as much. I can be on my own, but I'd much rather be in the company of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, it was a challenge for me. But we all worked remotely.
And how about the rest of the team?
Yeah, we all worked remotely.
But I mean, how did they find it?
How did they find it? I think all of us slightly struggled. I'm not going to lie. I think we all were glad to see the back of it. We were all glad to get back together. We were very keen, myself and Ben, to get back in the studio and get Carly back with us. And it was so good to be back.
I mean, that's a testament to the environment that you've created.
Yeah, I think so. I'd like to think if you asked, Carly what it's like, I'd love to say that she would say she loves coming to work and she really enjoys it and she loves working at Bourne. I'm sure she does.
So you're looking for a new creative.
Yes.
I'm your new creative.
Okay.
And I'm very, very good at what I do, have excellent references.
Yes.
But I want to work from home.
Okay. I've had this very recently. We interviewed somebody, was the perfect person, ish, 95% ticked all the boxes, but wanted to work from home. It wasn't going to work for Bourne, because we definitely, when we have a campaign that comes in the door, we'll sit together around a table with a cup of tea, a pile of biscuits, and talk face to face. And you can see people's facial expressions. We always say, no idea is a bad idea, because it's not. Until it comes out onto the table, It's not a bad idea. It might be that, and quite often I will openly say, look guys, I've got an idea. Could be really poor, but let me say it. And I say it, get it off my chest, because then it clears my brain. And also, somebody then might say, oh, because you've just said that, it's made me think of this. So actually, that rubbish idea might turn into, going further down the road after a couple more sessions, something quite good. You can only do that face to face. You can't get that energy and that excitement on a Zoom meeting. You just can't. People might say you can. I don't think you can. So that's why we hybrid. So we're 3 days in, 2 days out. Those 2 days you can work from wherever you want. And nobody's stopping anybody coming in all the time if they want. We've all got card key security entrance. Come and go as you please. But we do like to say mostly 3 days in, minimum 2 days. And it's normally Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in, Thursday, Friday out and about. I don't always make those days because clients' needs. Shaun, I'm sorry, I need you in Wigan, we have got a client in Wigan or Barnsley or where London or more local. But I try my best to be in with the guys, and then I try and book my Thursday, Fridays or Wednesday afternoons if people need me out and about. And that kind of seems to be working really nicely.
What's the master plan?
The master plan is to be an agency of around 6 in the studio.
Build for sale, or are you going to build to keep?
It's that's in. There's always build to sell at the back of your mind, isn't there? I have a business partner who's considerably younger than myself. So Ben is 40, and I suppose I sort of look upon him as potentially my exit strategy, my exit plan. It's quite funny because my wife sort of said I know my wife's exit plan from her business, and I know that inside out. She tells me. I think I'd struggle to completely, fully let go. I might be that guy in the background that's perhaps got 10%, gets dragged out to certain meetings every now and again. Put a loud shirt on, turn up at this event, please, Shaun. That's open to discussion, whether it's a complete sell-out, leave, retire, or whether it's involvement in some way. I'm not 100% sure on that.
That's
for me and Ben to talk
to
about.
A third party, complete third party, as in you all sell your shares.
That's.
So you've not actually sat down and
we've not. We've not properly. Myself and Ben do think incredibly similar ways, and
Do you have a number? I'm just curious.
do I have a number?
Do you have a number in your head where you're like, that's
What I'd like to sell out for?
yeah.
Do you know what? I would take advice on that. To be honest, I'd bring.
That's what I'm here
I am
for, bro.
not an expert. Yeah, exactly. I am no way am I an expert on selling businesses. I would take advice on that because I'm not. I know it sounds crazy. I am in business to make money. Of course, I've got bills to pay, and that's not the reason I get up and go to work. It's really not.
So this is a really fun part of the journey, when you start to actually have the conversations about price.
Yeah.
Because then for the first time, you're like, have you ever thought about how much your business is worth? No, that's not what I'm looking at.
No.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is what it could be worth. What?
Yeah.
And that's the fun part.
Yes, it is. And, I know there are media groups out there who buy agencies up. I know there are. I've been involved in agencies before where I've been the guy who's had that phone call or email. Would you be interested in having a conversation about them? I was a director of that agency. I wasn't the person who give them the answer, so I just passed that on. But yeah, at some point, yes, me and Ben, I suppose, need to sit down over a beer or coffee and go, what is the end game here? The start game was to create a studio, create a creative business that funded a lifestyle. It's not a lifestyle business, but we were both running an agency, so we were on a decent wage, and it was that had gone. We wanted, it was a natural progression. I think we'd both been thinking for about a year, well, let's do something together. So it was a natural progression that we did do something together, and I'm really glad we did. He's the best business partner I could wish for. Very supportive, trustworthy, ticks all the boxes. And but we started it, and probably we didn't sit down and go, right, in 10 years, this is the target. This is what we need to build the business worth so we can sell out and cash it in. Not had that conversation. So he does joke sometimes, and I'll say, I might retire at this age, and he'll go, I'll retire before you. But I suppose at that point I go, what exactly are you thinking here? I don't know, actually.
So if you're not in it, we need to make money. But if we're not in it for the money.
I'm in it for the love. I don't mind saying I'm in it for the love and the laughs. It genuinely, I get a real buzz and kick out of presenting really beautiful design that they've created. Genuinely, my job is a doddle because they create such phenomenal designs. If I was in an agency, and have been in the past, and I've been made to present designs that I didn't believe in, it's hard to present them. And people know, they can see it in your eyes, you're not buying into this. So they don't buy into it. But when somebody gives you beautiful design and they go and present that, it's a pleasure. It's easy. So I'm in it for that. I'm in it for seeing the buzz on the client's face when you present something really cool and it's been bespoke designed for them, and their eyes light up and they go, wow, that's why I get out of bed in the morning. I work with cool people. We have a giggle. We create beautiful things, really cool stuff that turns on investment, and we have a giggle. What more? Yeah, okay. You need a few quid in your pocket, which we get. I'm not going to lie. It's what we do. But we're not one of those agencies that overcharge. We don't charge for meetings like some agencies. We don't charge for travel like some agencies. If you're in a pickle and go, look, I've been working with you for a couple of years and I've got this and I really need it and I've got very little budget left, we'll help you out because it's a relationship thing. I know over the next 2 or 3 years, I'll get it back. So that's me.
I also remember, not to boost you up, but yes, to boost you up. I remember, so there's, what's that? If you want something good quality,
Yes.
fast,
Yeah.
and a good price.
Yeah.
You have to pick two. You
You
can't
pick
have all
two out of the three. Yeah.
So when I introduced you,
Yes.
I said this is one guy who could do all three.
That's
Do
a
you
very
know what
nice
I mean?
thing
It
to
was
say.
a good price. It was excellent quality, and he did it in 24 hours.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
I was so impressed with that.
Yeah. It's a bit like if we'd say we design something that gets printed, and the client goes, "It's okay. I've got the printer. I know. He's a friend of mine." I panic because I will. And people go, "Why do you try and keep hold of the print?" There's two reasons. We have a business model where we make a little bit of money on the design, we make a little bit of money on the print. That's fine. If the print's going to another printer, I have no problems with that, as long as it's printed on the correct paper stock and the quality's there and everything, it's right. There's nothing worse. I once did say to a client, "Oh, if this paper was just a little bit softer, I could find a use for it." Because it was, we designed something that was amazing. They'd gone and we told them the paper stock, uncoated. We told them, 240 GSM, put a matte varnish on the cover so it feels really nice and it doesn't crack when you crease it. All these kind of things. He went away. I even gave him the spec and said, "Give that your printer. And this is my price." He said, "I won't show him the price, but I'll show him the spec." Okay. And then I saw the document printed and I picked it up. I thought, there's no matte lamp. That is not the right GSM paper stock. It's not even the right stock. And then I go, that's not like for like, isn't it? Oh, he told me it was. All right, okay, did he? And what was his price? Oh, it was about £100 cheaper than you. And let's say that was a job for £900 print. Why would you cut corners? My fear is, which is why I like to keep hold of the print, or at least advise on the spec to go to a printer, is if we design something that's printed and it's not printed right and it's not printed well, somebody sees that and goes, "Oh, Azam, where did you have that done?" You go, "Oh, the lads at Bourne did it for me." You're not going to go, "The lads at Bourne did it, but I'm a cheapskate, so the print's not right." And then people will go, "Oh, that's not great, is it?" It has an effect on our reputation, which I'm very, very stringently defend. So, yeah, you do have to, on time, on budget, all the rest. If you want quality, it's like anything. If you want a quick, fast meal, go and buy a burger from a chain. If you want a gourmet burger, go and buy a gourmet burger. That's the thing.
So, I'm going to ask you a question that's going to drive you mad.
Oh, okay. I'm going to sit up for this.
So, and you will have heard it before.
Yeah.
Is print dead?
Is print dead? Absolutely not. And I'll tell you why. Print ceased pretty much in COVID. It really hit rock bottom. A lot of printers hit the wall. But now we're all back from the world of COVID, and we've been out of it for a while now, and hopefully people are starting to get back to normal and putting it in the back, forgetting about it, putting it in the back of the mind. Print's a bit novel, because people aren't used to receiving print anymore, so it's a bit novel. So it's almost like the cool kid back on the block. It's almost like, oh, excitement, I've got a bit of print. So we're finding actually direct mail is coming back very strong. But, and I say there's a but, it's only coming back strong if it's really targeted well. So you know your target audience. You're not doing mass mail. You know exactly. So it's smaller print run. It's quality. It's perhaps personalised. So it really hits the mark. So if you're going to spend on print, make it really work hard for you. And that would be my advice. I went to a networking event in Nottingham the other night. Really nice group of people, been going for years. You know it well, RSVIP. And as you go in, they give you a lanyard to put around your neck, and you put your business card in a little clear wallet. And quite a few people didn't have a business card. Oh, I don't do business cards anymore. They're not needed. They're out of date. And they got a scrappy bit of paper and a pen, and they wrote the name on it and put it in this little plastic wallet. And I thought, that's not really good representation. So there are times print is still the thing. Yes, a lot of things can go on, like, PDF download brochure, or, put your marketing budget into social media assets, or, film's big, animation's big. Trade shows are coming back very, very strongly. You need something to give out at trade shows.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing brochures appearing back on trade shows stands. We're doing a lot of exhibition design and build for clients, because people want to go and shake hands and meet people. So, yeah, print, not as strong as it was. A lot of printers went to the wall. The ones that did survive are the good ones. So you're getting good print if you know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally think there will always be a need for print, just perhaps not as much, and not blanket marketing, a lot more targeted.
All right.
Yeah.
Exhibition stand.
Yes.
With your spatial
Yes.
creativity
Yeah.
experience, critique the space.
Oh, this is really nice, actually. I walked into this space not knowing what to expect and thought, I like it. It's been done well. So I've walked in. The space is workable.
Mm-hmm.
We've got space to breathe. We've got gap between us. We've got something quite attractive on the walls. What people can't see is, the room has got really nice feature behind us, featured wall. It's actually really well presented. It doesn't really matter what's behind the camera,
Mm-hmm.
but actually this is really quite a nice room. It's very pleasant to be in. If it's pleasant,
Would you change it? What would you change?
Would I
about it?
change it? Do you know what? I don't think there's what I might be tempted to do is, we were talking earlier about your brand.
Mm-hmm.
What might be a cool thing to do is, if there was you can buy tiny little pocket projectors these days. They're as big as a Coke can, and you could project your logo on the wall here as a sort of a little
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, you just there. That might be quite a cool, nice little thing to do.
I was actually thinking about getting an acrylic one.
Or an acrylic one. Yeah, an acrylic one. Because actually, acrylic one would work particularly well here. So as I put my hand out, you can see the shadow because of the studio lights. If you did it and you put it on what's called locators, so they're about 10 mil away from the wall on clear acrylic, as the light hits the logo, it would cast a shadow on the wall and you get that nice sort of 3D effect. So that would be kind of cool, wouldn't it?
Have you enjoyed yourself?
I've really enjoyed it. I always love your company.
This is me. Yeah,
This is cool.
you too.
But no, I really have, actually. Thank you very much.
So, what would you say to if you could talk to a 20-year-old you
Oh, yeah, I know what I'd
about
say.
the journey?
About the journey?
Yeah, about the journey. What advice would you give them?
The first thing I'd say is relax. If I was I can remember being 20 quite well. I was just moving out of photography into exhibition, and I think I thought you had to do everything at 100 miles an hour with your head on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you don't. You need to be a sensible pace. You need to give yourself time to think. I didn't think things through, perhaps to the nth degree at that age. I just did it and then thought, oh, that was a bad idea. Painted myself into a corner on this one. But yeah, I think I'd tell myself to calm down, relax, and just trust in your skill. I had a lot of doubt in my mind when I was that age. Am I good enough to do this? Why have I just got this promotion? Why should I be doing this? Actually, I was pretty good. I was pretty good at my job. I wouldn't have got the job if I hadn't have been. But I did get quite a good position at quite a young age with a lot of responsibility. And I think it was 50% my skill, and I think it was 50% the team behind me really backed me. I can still remember those guys and ladies who were in my team, and they were a good team. And I think they went up and above and beyond because I was quite nice boss. I think they liked that and valued that, so perhaps covered some of my mistakes. I'm not saying brush things under the carpet, but they picked up the slack. Perhaps if I wasn't quite on the mark with things, they'd be like, I'll do that for him. And then the job got got done because it was a very, very, very pressurised job exhibition. You know, everything is last minute, everything is high quality, everything is last minute changes, and you just have to adapt until it's on that container being shipped somewhere, getting to the show. Everything is pressure because that's just that trade. That's how it is. You know, you go on site to the NEC to build a stand, you get 3 or 4 hours to put a stand up that has to look magnificent for a show. And then when the show's gone, you get 2 hours to break it down, put it in a van and disappear. So you're constantly sprinting, whatever you do. But for that 2-day or 1-day show, that stand looks fantastic. It's a bit like a film set. The stuff behind it, propping it up. You know, it's a little bit make-believe. It's a little bit fantasy, and you have to deliver it. And I actually get a real kick out of going on site still, putting stands up, although I'm less hands-on now. You know, I have fitters. But to be in that environment where you've got an hour before the whistle goes and you've got to leave the hall and it looks, you turn around and everybody's in the same boat. There's 100 stands going up and everybody's running around like a headless chicken. It's kind of a bit of a buzz. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I like it.
What's the craziest brief that you've got?
Oh,
brief?
there's no doubt in my mind. I can remember the phone call. It was about 3 or 4 days before Christmas break. We were, to be honest, on the wind down. I took a phone call from 2 ladies in a car who I've known for years, who were physically driving to my studio and said, "We're in the brown stuff. We need digging out. I really need your support. I really need your support. Can you hang on for us? We're on our way." And they walked in, we got the kettle on, they sat down, and they dropped the mother of all bombshells on me. They'd got an exhibition the first week back in January. This is 4 days before Christmas break, where everybody's shutting down. You know, the entire exhibition industry had already shut. They told us it was a private exhibition. I won't mention any names, but I can say it was in the nuclear sector. It was a private invite-only exhibition. There was very few people coming. And they had to create, and this was the brief. So I'm writing it down. It's like, oh, right, yeah. They told me the footprint of the space. It was big. It was quite a big space, 30 metres by 40 metres of that sort of ilk. I think there was only 20 stands at the show. And it was to promote their product. But the clincher was, for some reason, somebody had decided the entire exhibition would be Dickensian themed. So we're talking about nuclear, and then somebody mentions Dickensian themed. The two don't really gel. And they wanted a full design, a full exhibition build and fit on site the week we get back in January. So, you know, you have that conversation firstly about money, because you have to. And we agreed on this occasion, because they trusted me so much, there wouldn't be I couldn't estimate it. I couldn't. I could ballpark it. I could guess. You know, it's going to be here-ish. And they went, that'll have to do. I'm going to trust you, run with it. But then just as they were walking literally out the door, I'm guessing to go home to break up for Christmas, they were like, oh, and actually, we want an interactive game as well on the stand. Bye, have a nice Christmas. Shut the door. And you kind of look at each other as a team and kind of go, what the hell? So I put a phone call into the managing director of somebody I knew in the exhibition world. She owned her own exhibition company. I'd known her for years, and I said, when do you shut for Christmas? Oh, she said, we just got a couple of days left. We just got a couple of jobs to get out the door. And I said, right, okay, this is my predicament. And she said, okay, let me have a word with the guys. And she had 3 guys who were youngish, single, you know, at that age where Christmas was more about drinking than being with family, you know, that sort of early 20s, late teens age, who were prepared to come in all over Christmas if I promised to feed them and water them. So I turned into a pizza delivery driver the entire Christmas, and we did sketches. They basically took those sketches, which were quite rough, and made what can only be described as a spectacular exhibition stand for us in timber over that Christmas holiday. And every day I went in to see how they were getting on, fed them, fetched them drinks. You know, oh, Shaun, can we have burgers today? You can have whatever you want, guys. And we turned out a stand that can only be described. Well, everybody saw it and were wowed. The thing was magnificent. To such a degree, one of the elements on the stand, which was the interactive game, which was all made of timber and it all moved and made sound effects, it was a man on a penny farthing with a top hat, and it was stunning. And the game was, as the front wheels spun, you had to push a broom through the spokes of the wheel, and it stopped and it made noises and it flashed, and it was.
What was the nuclear element? Just out of curiosity.
It was all around the turbines of the nuclear element. And you know, we'd got Cobble Street. You know, it was stunning. The thing was stunning. They actually kept that Dickensian man on his penny farthing that was on a wooden stand in their reception for 2 or 3 years, because they were so blown away by it. It was like, we called it a contraption because we didn't know what else to call it. But we pulled it out of the bag, and that is the scariest, stressful Christmas I've had, where, you know, sorry kids, Jane, I'm out, I'm going down to see how the lads are doing. But we pulled it out of the bag. The client was spectacularly thankful. Still work with them now, still a client. That was a few years ago, probably 10-ish years ago.
So can you name one thing that you love about running your own business, and then one thing that you hate's a strong word, that you find a bit more challenging
about
absolutely. About being an entrepreneur, running your own business?
Yeah. The hate, I'm not a paperwork person. Ben knows I'm not a paperwork person. Everybody in the business knows I'm not a paperwork person. That's my lacking area. And sometimes it can trip me up. I'm not going to lie. I always carry a notepad around and scribble notes. But I do know sometimes that paperwork is not where it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And I've known that, always known that, and I've tried improving it. I've tried all sorts of different ways of doing it, and I've kind of hit a level now where I think that it's working. It's not let me down. It doesn't cause too much grief. And if at the end of the day somebody finds a gap in that paperwork from the studio, they just ring me and go, Shaun, can you just run through this with me? And after a 5-10 minute phone call, it's sorted. But I do think sometimes that is my weak point. Running my own business, it's fabulous to be your own boss. It's amazing to be able to not have that, oh God, scary, business is not doing well, I'm going to get made redundant feeling and vibe. That flexibility of being able to come and do this. You know, I've not had to say, oh, you know, excuse me, do you mind if I go and do this? Yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this, guys. If you need me, give me a call. So that, I love that, the flexibility and the pride, actually, of building something that works, that's profitable, that's sustainable, and we built it ethically with values. We've never knowingly done anything out of order. We operate a very clean, to the letter of the law, business. That's something I think to be proud of. Yeah.
Do you have, like, you know, they say have a mission statement, have your values clearly displayed, all that sort of stuff? Do you do that sort of thing, or is it more?
Do you know what? We need to do that. We all know the values of the business in the business. Do we project that outwards? Probably not as much as we should.
What would you say the values of your business are?
Ethical, reliable, honesty. That's creativity. That's what it's all about. That's what we're structured on.
you think that's missing from business owners?
I do. We honestly, when we talk to suppliers, we look for those kind of suppliers. You know, anybody can find anything on the internet cheap if they really want to, but you kind of want to know it's come from a source that's somebody's been paid the right amount of money to produce that.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can buy anything from China cheap. I'd rather buy it from Britain. I'd rather buy it from somebody who's made it. And I'm not in business to turn anybody over and screw them down on price. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in business to provide a fair solution to a problem at a fair price. So, you know, I don't go into the marketplace looking for cheap print. I work with printers I've known for donkey's years, who I know have got a really good recycling policy, who've got an equal opportunities policy for staff, who look after their team, who buy their paper from the right places. You know, if at all possible, they'll use recycled. They're on water-based inks. They tick all the boxes. That's what I'm looking for. That somebody will be honest with me and they'll go, we've had a breakdown. If a printer comes into me and says, we never have problems, you know, the nose starts to grow, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everybody has problems. Of course they do. But I'd rather have a printer that would ring me up and go, got a mechanical, we're going to be a day late, Shaun. They give me notice so I can ring my client and go, look, we've got a problem. We're working through this to come up with a solution for you. You will get your print. 9 times out of 10, the client goes, chill, it's not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
If we've got a trade event where that's got to be a deadline, we go to print earlier. You know, we allow that breather gap. So I don't go to a printer and say, I want that then. I go to a printer and say, when can you produce this for me? And they will go, we can produce it for you for that date. Thank you very much. I always add a day on because people have problems. It's a bit like recently, a client asked us to use a particular company. Not got a problem with it. Our building's quite easy to find. Everybody doesn't seem to have a problem to find it, apart from this one overnight courier who repeatedly said your building doesn't exist, we can't find it, the delivery driver's been there but you weren't in. Well, it's a reception. You walk in and talk to somebody behind the counter. It's not me. So the fact that I wasn't in doesn't equate. And those kind of companies who just go, oh, well, we've done our bit, we've put it on a courier. No, you put it on a courier. So it hasn't got to me. It's your problem. And they're not interested. I don't like dealing with companies like that. I like to be treated as though I would be treating my client. And I think in business, there's a lot to be said for that. There's a lot to be said for that. Look after people and just deliver on your promise. All
right. So then very, very last question.
Yes.
Bearing in mind the madness that's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind...
Oh, we're not going political, are we?
No.
Oh, that's all right then.
It depends. It's entirely up to you. But bearing in mind all the young people thinking about going into business or going into a career, whether in business generally or specific in the graphics industry or creative space or whatever.
Yeah.
But also anyone, anywhere. Imagine, I'm going to count down from 3. By all means, take as long as you like. I'll count down from 3 and imagine that what you say is going to be put in front of every single person on earth.
Wow. Okay.
What would you tell them? 3, 2, 1, live.
Find something you love to do and follow that. Because if you enjoy your job, you don't go to work every day. If you fall into a job and you're just in it for the money, it will eat you up and spit you out. So find something you enjoy doing. And then find somebody, if you need to work with another person, who enjoys it as much as you. And then you'll bounce off each other and you'll have energy and you'll love what you do and you'll look forward to going to work. I never really think I'm going to work, I go to a room, I enjoy the day, and what comes out of that is work, and then what comes out of that is results, and then what comes out of that is somebody pays us for it. It's great. So find something you love to do.
Thanks for coming, my man.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks to the gang at Seven Studios for hosting us.
Thank you very much. Great. Love it. I'll be back.